Hi, Bob Williams, HR Director for Garner Industries, a world-class manufacturer with a 70-year history right here in Lincoln. And I just listed some great career opportunities that you can find by logging into GarnerIndustries.com. If you want top pay, excellent benefits, flexible work hours, and the opportunity to work in a clean, modern, air-conditioned facility with great people, contact me today by applying online at GarnerIndustries.com.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
That's right. Welcome to it on a Friday. Glad you are along for the ride. The next 2 hours, 2 to 4 Central Time here in beautiful Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm Austin Norman, joined again, thank goodness, by the Husker Hall of Famer, the 9-year NBA veteran, the world traveler, the purveyor of Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, Mr. Eric Strickland. Stricky, it's been a couple days. How we doing?
We had some port dockings and going and doing excursions and being off the boat, so forth and so on. So that's the only reason I miss being on the block but I'm back today, Friday. We're on the way on sea, so it's all good, man. What's going on?
Not a whole lot, at least in my life, a lot going on in the wide world of sports for us to get to here today. The first, probably the biggest thing that happened, Strick, the Sacramento Kings made the NBA playoffs. The Kings, for the first time in 17 years, they clinch a playoff berth. Back when you were playing, the Kings had, more respect, more of a name than they do now. 17 years in the wilderness. It's been a long time coming for them. What a cool moment for Sacramento to clinch that playoff berth on the road at Portland with a fun team, with Sabonis, with Fox, the leadership of Mike Brown. Good for that fan base. Good for that team.
Yeah, not only that. I mean, the way that they did it, they kind of started teetering towards the middle, towards the the lower half of the conference, and then just really got hot and started rolling. And they have a matching of the best road record in the conference. It's going to be you hear it.
Yep. Oh, good. So, yeah, the Sacramento Kings in the playoffs for the first time since 2006. And again, back when Strick was playing, the Kings were a household name, made a Western Conference Finals, made the playoffs, have some big names. But now, Strick, they're the Kings. They have the reputation for being losers, for making all the wrong moves, for taking Marvin Bagley, Luka Doncic. Ben McLemore didn't work out for them. All sorts of lottery picks, nothing to show for it. But here they are, back in the playoffs. And to me, that's kind of mind-blowing. It took 17 years. But again, the reputation that the Kings had for dysfunction was one of one.
Yeah, and they made some great moves. The acquisition of someone that has top-tier playoff experience and good leadership with Harrison Barnes on the team. We all know about the trade that they made in order to get Domantas Sabonis, which was huge. This young man, as far as the salary cap is concerned, he's underpaid for what his skill set is. I mean, let's just be real about it. He's only making like $18.5 million a year at this point. Then you have guys like Kevin Huerter, who stepped up and has become a tremendous shooter for that team. Malik Monk, the acquisition and him coming over, when you say they've done it right at this point. De'Aaron Fox was well deserving of his payday, but for the most part, they don't have salary cap issues like most teams in the NBA, and yet they're still find themselves as the third, not the third seed necessarily yet, but it's not final. But they're third in the Western Conference, which some would consider to be one of the toughest at this point with a lot of the moves that have been made over the recent times.
Sitting third in the Western Conference right now, like you said, with the potential to jump Memphis. It's not going to be easy, but with 5 or 6 games to go in the season, 2 games is manageable. Take some help, but if you win, Memphis loses, you're right there. And you have, home court advantage for not just the first round, but the first 2 rounds if you make it out of that. So impressive story. And to me, you have to credit the players, obviously. But Mike Brown, a guy who's been there, done that at all sorts of different stops. With the Cavs, they poach him then from the Warriors. To me, Mike Brown was the perfect voice for that group. I think he let guys be themselves. They're not great on defense. I know Mike Brown's a good defensive coach. There's not a whole lot there for that roster defensively. But Mike Brown is an adult. He's a guy who's been through some stuff. He's seen everything at a basketball level. So to me, Mike Brown has to be the front runner for Coach of the Year.
I would venture to say I think he's done probably the best job with what some would say was being. It was so unexpected that they would find themselves in this position, and yet he's been able to get it done. I mean, he's coached some of the best. He's coaching at Cleveland, also coaching there at Golden State. He's deserving of the opportunity, but he's actually showing the type of coach that he is. I think that they're not just a scary team that most people are going to have to face, because they're not scared to go into your gym and beat you. They're very capable. They've shown throughout the course of the year having a tie for some of the best road record in the league. With those of like Boston and Milwaukee. So you've got to look at them as a danger in the Western Coast Conference. I think they find themselves in not too bad of a spot if they're able to stay at that 3 position, because of one, you got the play-in situation, and depending on who comes out of that, I don't see anybody outside of Golden State that would be a crazy danger to them. They've handled the Lakers okay. OKC's not someone that's too dangerous. New Orleans can be, depending on the matchup situation. But the one that throws me off right now is just the downfall of the Dallas Mavericks. Just the move that they made. It seems like everybody else's moves that were made, the acquisitions that they made, are panning out for them, to include Phoenix at this point, who has been able to hold on, even though they kind of been teetering a little bit. They've been able to hold on. And I've got to give a salute to Tyronn Lue, because it looked like it could have been ugly for them. And yet they moved out of that play-in situation and found themselves in a 5th slot. Now they're still in danger. They've got games left. They've got to finish it off strong. But they've been 7-3 in their last 10 games. So they're playing better. They're finding out ways to use Westbrook and to kind of the different moves. And listen, Tyronn has been in a position, Tyronn Lue has been in a position in which he's making decisions for the betterment of the team. And if it doesn't include Westbrook, he's willing to take that, the brunt of that. And so he's figured out a way to get those guys playing good basketball as well. So it's going to be fun to watch that Western Conference and see who's going to emerge and come out of that. Now, another thing, when you look at it, Austin, on the Boston Celtics side of things, they just demolished the Milwaukee Bucks at home. And that's a send a message type of win that they performed on the Boston Celtics. I happen to kind of periodically with Wi-Fi situations get some of the news and can't really delve deep into it, but got a chance to put my eye on some of that, and they beat the brakes off of them at home. So that's a send a message type of thing for the playoffs as well.
I'm glad you brought up the Clippers and Russell Westbrook. Since he got traded, we haven't heard his name a lot. And to me, that's the biggest credit to Tyronn Lue in the job he's done. Because if we were hearing Russell Westbrook's name, it probably means that he wasn't fitting in, that he hadn't found a role, that the Clippers were scuffling, were struggling. But the fact that at least the majority of people haven't heard Russell Westbrook's name like in the news, to me, speaks volumes of the job Tyronn Lue has done in getting Russ to buy in, to find that role in the optimal way to use him. I still don't think it was the best move for the Clippers, but hats off to T. Lue for finding a way to make the best of that move.
I mean, listen, the only thing that's changed is he's just changed floors. He's still in the same place. Right. The same media that covers the Lakers is still the same media, as you said, is the same media that covers the Clippers. And so you would think that there would still be a lot of news that comes out about Westbrook, but they've done a good job of masking it, and he's done a good job of not, putting himself out there in that method and in that way in order to cause news for the team, but just play ball. And I think that's the best thing for Russell, and I think that's a good thing as to why he went with the Clippers and Tyronn Lue and the crew. Because, look, they're just about playing ball and winning. And so you're getting Kawhi to start finally playing. They're finally healthy. Team is, I'm not going to say they're dangerous, but I think with Westbrook, if he just plays his role and distributes and attacks, but, not necessarily just trying to take over, they may be okay.
Some breaking news out of the portal, Strick. Two names to give you. I guess one that isn't portal related, but for Nebraska women's basketball, Jazz Shelley announces she's returning for her 5th season. Huge pickup for Amy Williams and the crew. They go 1 for 2 in getting the Australians back. Hopefully Allison Widener comes back healthy, because if you get Shelley for offense, Widener for defense, that's a tough guard combo to beat.
Yeah, that's good for them to be able to land that. And as Rico stated, that they've got some great recruits that are going to be coming in as well. The Big Ten is really tough for women's basketball. That's a tough gauntlet. So you've got to really step up your recruiting game. You've got to get the talent in there. Obviously, it's going to be interesting to see what Iowa's able to do and how they're able to play, because South Carolina and LSU have shown to be dominant. But for the women's side, you've got to be able to figure out how to match up with some of the best that the Big Ten has to offer, and getting Jazz Shelley back, a scoring option that you don't really have to worry about trying to find or figure out who else is going to be able to fill that void is good for them.
Speaking of filling the void, breaking news, entering the transfer portal, Hunter Dickinson. That's right, Michigan center Hunter Dickinson. His name in the transfer portal as a graduate transfer.
Wow. Everybody and their mama's going to want Hunter Dickinson. I don't care what it is, but it would sure be nice to see him in a big red uniform, but I don't think that'll happen. But listen, everybody's going to want the skill set that Hunter Dickinson can bring, his ability to stretch the floor. He can handle a little bit. He's an opposing force in the post. He can get buckets. And, that type of a solid big man, yes, sir. Just where he lands up is going to be a shift for whatever team's able to get him. No question.
Michigan is going to look so different next year. Jet Howard being talked about as NBA draft pick. We'll see what Bufkin decides to do. They do add Namari Burnett, who started at Texas Tech, transferred, didn't play a lot at Alabama. But again, regardless of some of those auxiliary pieces, Dickinson was the guy for them. Splendid offensive player, established an inside game early, added a bit of a pick and pop game as well. But Michigan ends up in the NIT this year. And again, Strick, it goes back to, in the Big Ten, you play through a big man to survive the regular season. Michigan had its ups, had its downs. Without Hunter Dickinson, they can change their style of play, but I think it lowers their floor in the regular season to get rid of someone that consistent and dependable.
Absolutely. Juwan Howard's going to have to do a great coaching job. He's got to figure out, again, like you said, a change of style. That's not easy to do, especially with the uncertainty of what's going to happen, with knowing who you got coming back, how well you feel about those who are in the locker room. And at the end of the day, you had a stable piece that was in the middle there, and him not leaving. Like, to be honest, Hunter Dickinson, I think the season is probably why he's coming back. Just the topsy-turvy way that the season went for Michigan. Maybe come back and just reestablish himself, become the centerpiece for that. I can't say for sure if Zach Edey has declared, but shoot, Purdue still's got the options. I mean, if I'm paying her, I'm trying to pull him back too again, because losing him could be another piece that could be a hurt for what Purdue's trying to do. It's tough to replace somebody like that. but I'm still hoping we can get someone with a similar skill set as a Hunter Dickinson. He reminds me of Sabonis. He reminds me of Sabonis in his style, but Sabonis is probably a little bit more physical. I think he's probably a little bit more skilled. I think Hunter has the ability to become physical because he shows it at time. But my goodness, I'm hoping that, we can pull a rabbit out of the hat, man, David Copperfield style, and find somebody that can fill that center position for us because it's a need.
One guy that will not be filling that void or even at the 4, Isaac Trout, the Grand Island Senior High product, did announce today that he will be going to Creighton. Not a huge shock. Creighton was in on him to the very end. The first time that he was being recruited, didn't take long for Isaac Trout to commit to Creighton. Again, a little bit of a longer shot for Nebraska to get him. Would have been a fun piece, but hey, now Juwan Gary gets to make his life miserable next year, I hope.
Yeah, and that made sense for Trout because they showed the most promise, right? They were able to go pretty deep. With his addition, they still have the ability to do so. Obviously, you're going to use Lou Shireman, but Creighton's done a good job of just putting himself in a position to look pretty. Like example of that, like when you put out, just say you put out like when you go into a jewelry store and you look at the jewelry, right? What makes it shine and glimmer the most is the bigger the light that sits on it. But if it's sitting back in the corner, it's all dull. It doesn't look like it has any value to it. Then all of a sudden you look and your eyes turn to the light. That's what Creighton did by going and putting himself in a position. One shot, they see one foul, one situation away from moving on to the Final Four. So for them, I think that's a good get for them. His skill set's pretty solid. I don't know size wise how he fits, but that's gonna put a good team together for them still.
For sure. So that's the college basketball news. Coming up next, though, we get to hear about the Kansas City Royals. You heard his voice yesterday on the opening day broadcast. You'll hear him throughout the season. Jake Eisenberg, the newest voice of the Kansas City Royals that you can hear right here on 93.7 The Ticket. He'll join the show next, give us a little bit of a season preview for what to expect from the boys in blue. We'll talk to Jake after this.
If you're not sure what your evening plans are and want to change things up, look no further than Craft Axe Throwing. Whether for a date night, an evening with friends, or even a private party, you're sure to make memories at Craft Axe Throwing. Trained instructors help make things easy to understand, and a stock bar makes it a great hangout spot. With 13 throwing lanes, there's plenty of opportunity to reserve your spot today. Choose the Lincoln location at craftaxethrowing.com to book a lane or call 402-802-9696. Craft Axe Throwing at 18th and N.
If your home isn't delivering the year-round comfort you expect, call the experts at Bryant. Warm and cool, comfort and confidence. Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Call 467-1111.
March is a month of good luck. From epic runs in state basketball to watching Cinderella spring the upset in college basketball. And of course, St. Patrick's Day. Luck is on your side at Mullen Motors too, because their lot is full of great vehicles to take home. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride, as summer road trips are just around the corner. Your luck starts this month at Mullen Motors.
No tagline, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This Easter, focus on your family instead of dishes with the Venue Easter to-go meals. Prepared fresh in-house by our chefs, these meals are ready to heat and eat, with packages for 2 to 3 people or 6 to 8, and your choice of juicy beef tenderloin, tasty herb roasted chicken, or our famous 6-pepper crusted prime rib. All meal packages come with sides, and we have additional add-ons available to complete your feast. Order today at venuedelivered.com/Easter. That's venuedelivered.com/Easter.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hour 1, segment 2 here on the block on 93.7 The Ticket. Thanks for dialing in with us here on your Friday. If you didn't know, we are the Lincoln affiliate now of the Kansas City Royals. That's right. The Royals are back on our airwaves. So when check out all the action, make sure you tune in right here on 93.7 The Ticket. We get a season preview right now with the newest voice of the Royals, Jake Eisenberg. Jake, you were really the first call-up the Royals made this season. You were the voice of the Chasers. They call you up over the offseason. First of all, congratulations on getting the job. How was spring training? How was day one in the broadcast booth this season?
Well, first and foremost, guys, thanks for having me. Yesterday was pretty incredible. This offseason was pretty incredible. Even last year, getting to do 2 games with the Royals in May when MJ Melendez made his big league debut and Bobby Witt Jr. in his first big league homer. That was pretty incredible. Spring training was incredible. And I know I keep saying that word a lot, but I haven't come up with many other words to better describe what this experience has been like so far. I mean, with the new coaching staff, all the excitement with the young players, all of the experience of the veteran players, like, the guy with the C on his chest now, Salvador Perez. This is a really fun team that I think is going to surprise some people. And although we didn't see the result that we wanted to yesterday in a 2-0 loss, it's one game out of 162. There's no team out there that's going to go 162-0. And I think just seeing a sellout crowd and 40,000 people packed into the K and everybody vibing and the joy that was radiating, it was really special.
In your broadcast booth, you're the Bobby Witt or the MJ Melendez, and the guy wearing the C, Denny Matthews, been doing it for a long time. What's it like working with him? I've never met Denny, but I've always heard glowing reports about him.
So believe it or not, that was actually the first time that Denny and I have worked together because, we didn't work together last May and we didn't work together at all this spring. He wasn't down at spring training. And so it was kind of surreal to sit next to him first and foremost, and then, to learn from him as the game went on, the way that he sees the game. Certainly listening from afar, you kind of understand where his mind might go and the perspective that he looks through. But, then sitting next to him and listening a lot more intensely, a lot more closely to the things that he's saying and what he's observing about how Salvi is throwing back picks to first base when pitchers are low and outside, or how Michael Massey is receiving relay throws from third base to start a double play. He's got such an incredible baseball acumen that's been built over the course of the 55-year history of the franchise that it's almost impossible to sit next to him and not learn something every other sentence that he says.
Let's get into some on-the-field stuff now, too, Jake. Big picture goals for the Royals this season. I've been saying just be interesting. Just be interesting. Keep attention late in the year, and not just for, Royals fans like me who are going to pay attention no matter what, but can they hang around, the fringes of the wild card race, at least with some of these young guys coming up? Is that kind of the goal the front office has in mind, or what are the goals for the Royals this season?
I mean, that was probably one of the main questions that a lot of the reporters were asking both Mr. Sherman and JJ Piccolo at the opening press conference, and first-year manager Matt Quatrero too. And I think the overarching thing was progress, that this front office and this coaching staff wants to see this team make tangible progress, steps forward. In some cases, that amounts to a number of wins. You certainly hope it amounts to a number of wins. In some cases, that amounts to certain other numbers, taking a step forward. I think to your point, Austin, I think this team is going to be interesting really no matter what, because you have so many different storylines, from Zach Greinke chasing down 3,000 strikeouts to Salvi continuing to build a potential Hall of Fame resume, to Bobby Witt Jr. in year 2, and MJ Melendez and Vinny Pasquantino and Michael Massey in a full year 1, Nate Eaton as well. Can these pitchers take a big step forward as well? Not just Brady Singer, but also Chris Bubic and Daniel Lynch. There are a lot of teams that come into a season where it's kind of World Series or bust, if you will, and there aren't necessarily a ton of different storylines other than, did this team win or did this team lose? And you kind of find yourself trying to find the narratives within the game. I think with the Royals, you have the narratives, you have the storylines, and you see the potential. And now the question is, yes, did this team win or lose? But also, what does that amount to for this year and 2024 and 2025? How do you build something? And that's what we're going to see this year.
How does Matt Quatraro and his attitude fit into that overall plan with the Royals?
Well, I think the biggest thing that they targeted with their managerial search and the search for the pitching coach this offseason was they wanted, somebody like Matt Quatraro, who's come in and had a really comfortable vibe in the clubhouse. It's clear that he's a player's manager and is, open to having the players be themselves and express themselves, also taking data and communicating it with the players. That's something that everybody's been talking about. The level of communication, the level of transparent, and the level of comfort that has gone between the coaching staff and the clubhouse and vice versa, the front office and the clubhouse and vice versa. That's what was most palpable in spring training, is how seamless all the different puzzle pieces fit together. And so I think that's where Matt Quatraro can guide this ship, and the culture that he's already built is one that allows this young Royals team to be themselves and have a good time and also grow and be challenged. And, again, as Vinny Pasquantino said the other day, every single guy in that clubhouse, every single guy in this organization, every person that is wearing a Royals anything has their eye on the playoffs, has their eye on the World Series. Vinny said it. If you're coming into the season and that's not your goal, what are you doing? They're here to win. As much as these other storylines about building come into play, they're here to win. And so that's what they're going to try and do.
We're talking with the newest voice of the Royals broadcast booth you'll hear here all summer on 93.7 The Ticket, Jake Eisenberg. Jake, we are a game into the regular season, not enough to draw huge, conclusions from. So let's refer back to spring training here for a second. Who on the big league roster, this first initial 26-man group that's playing for the Royals, did anything that caught your eye in a positive way in spring training?
I would say two candidates caught my eye. The first is Kyle Isbell, who we know has an elite first step in center field and has showed off an incredible defensive ability. We saw it yesterday. He made a great catch. Heck, he came inches away from robbing Buxton into that triple. But we saw in spring training consistency with the bat. We saw a patient approach. We saw him hitting the ball hard and hitting it to all fields. He led the Royals with 17 hits in spring training, and he had, I think, the hardest hit ball by a Royal yesterday, too, his double into the right center field gap. And then the other guy would be Michael Massey, who hit 5 home runs over the spring, tinkered with a new bat during the offseason. He's got one of those larger knobs on the bottom of his bat, kind of a counterweight like we saw Paul Goldschmidt use last season. And he came into the spring and he raked. And if Michael Massey can be an everyday major league offensive player like the Royals think he can be, I mean, again, we only saw a little bit of Michael Massey last year. We only saw a little bit of Vinny. We only saw a little bit of MJ. We only saw Kyle Isbell, every so often. He wasn't an everyday player. If these guys become everyday players and are everyday players and contribute like everyday players, well, you're looking at a much different team than what we saw last year.
Those are two guys on the offensive side of the ball. With the pitching staff, we know the change with a lot of the members of the pitching, the coaching, how that went down. Just who are some of those candidates in your eyes that could benefit from these new voices?
Well, I think one of the primary candidates has to be Brad Keller. And part of that is also what he did on his own during the offseason, going to Driveline and taking the slider that he's had over the last couple of years and effectively splitting it into 2 different pitches. He's now got a curveball, and he's also got a sweeping slider, more horizontal break on that slider, not unlike the one we saw Pablo Lopez use yesterday really effectively. But Brad Keller has the chance to be somewhat of a completely different pitcher with 2 brand new offerings. And when you talk about new offerings, you also talk about Chris Bubich, who's added a slider, has a ton more confidence, still has that fastball, curveball, changeup combination too. But you add that slider, Bubich looked really sharp during the spring also. I think those are 2 guys that could take a pretty significant step forward. And I don't want to disclude Daniel Lynch either, who did also look pretty sharp during the spring and was throwing strikes. He's just going to start the season on the injured list, so we won't see those dividends as soon as maybe Keller or Bubich.
Zach Greinke gets the opening day start for the Royals yesterday, but at least for my money, Brady Singer, after what he did last season, is the ace. What are the Royals thinking about how he was used in the World Baseball Classic, and how does that inform their approach with him for these first few weeks?
Well, I think that I talked to Brady about this, about his experience, and he was just raving about all the stuff that he learned and soaked in. And look, not pitching isn't the most ideal thing in the world. No, when you go to an environment like that, you want to compete, you want to pitch. But there are so many restrictions that are placed on how pitchers were used and when they were used for Team USA and for the other WBC teams that, unfortunately becomes kind of a collateral damage sort of thing. Same with Bobby Witt Jr. Didn't see a ton of bats. Now, that doesn't mean that these guys weren't taking batting practice and, taking hitting development lessons from guys like Ken Griffey Jr. Or throwing bullpen sessions. I mean, Brady was talking about how cool it was to throw a bullpen session in front of Andy Pettitte, a guy he grew up, really looking up to, among many other pitchers. So, the number of innings is not necessarily what you want. Brian Sweeney said as much, but Brady Singer also looked really sharp in one of those exhibition games in Texas and threw a little over 5 innings, I want to say. So as far as getting built up, he's ready for, his first start of the regular season in not too long now. I think, the experiences that those two guys gleaned from the WBC, I think far outweigh the, 2 starts of 4 innings that Brady might have had against a half big league, half minor league team in Peoria or something. Not to be flippant about it. That's, just the way I might think about it.
For sure. So your old stomping grounds in Omaha, the Storm Chasers start their season off tonight. Who are some of the names that are in AAA to start the season that Royals fans should, keep in the back of their mind to look forward to as the season progresses?
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up because I wanted to give a special shout out to everybody over at Warner Park and the Omaha Storm Chasers who kick off their season tonight, and especially to the new voice of the Omaha Storm Chasers, Nicholas Batters, who you guys would get to hear all season long. Nick was the broadcaster for the AA Northwest Arkansas Naturals for the last couple of years. He does a fantastic job. He is a perfect fit to be the voice of the Storm Chasers. He grew up going to Omaha Royals games. You're really going to love listening to him call ball games and following along with everything that he's sharing with the Omaha Storm Chasers. As far as players to keep an eye on, I think tops of the list is Nick Prado, who was battling for an opening day roster spot. And I think in a numbers game, in terms of getting regular at-bats, just wound up in AAA. But I think Nick Prado is always going to be a candidate as someone that, when he starts swinging the bat really well, which he does, and you put along that with his Gold Glove defense at first base, you're looking at potentially a very special player. So I think Nick Prado is someone to keep an eye on. Michael Garcia was the prospect that everybody was raving about during spring training. It'll be interesting to see how much he plays shortstop and how much he plays the outfield, because they did talk about Garcia playing a little bit of center field. And the same goes for Nick Lofton, who added 27 pounds of muscle in the offseason.
Whoa, 27 in one offseason.
Yes, 27 pounds in one offseason. And you know what? I remember seeing Nick last August when he got called up to AAA. And I remember seeing Nick when he showed up in spring training, and it was noticeably different. That dude got big in a good way. And look, Nick, I don't think Nick's niggling, but if he is, I think he's got now opposite field power that he might not have had before. He's never hit an opposite field homer in the pros, but I think it's going to happen in not too long. So Nick Prado's someone to keep an eye on too. Another guy that can kind of play a little bit everywhere, infield and outfield. On the pitching side, I mean, this bullpen is loaded. I mean, Colin Snyder easily could have been on the Royals opening day roster. He had a nasty spring training. Ryan Weiss completely changed his pitching arsenal from fastball curveball to two-seamer slider. He's in that bullpen. You've got a 7-year big league veteran in Nick Whitgren, who's a part of that bullpen as well. I think there's some really interesting pieces on the pitching side. And then, among the starters, Austin Cox finished last year really, really strong on the pitching side. Jackson Kowar is a guy that can benefit from the new pitching development as well. He's also on that pitching staff. So I think there are a lot of really interesting pieces. Frankly, I think that Omaha team is going to be really, really good. And they're going to be, an exciting team to watch as well.
New to not just the Royals, but all of baseball, some new rules in the pitch clock and the shift ban. Let's start with the pitch clock. I didn't hear a lot from Royals players or coaches about it being a big deal. Does that just mean they're used to it? They've adapted to it, all fine and good on the Royals end?
Yeah, and that's the truth is, not only have they adjusted to it through spring training, but most of them played with it at AAA last year. It's not new to any of them. Frankly, it's not really new to us. We saw it at AAA last year. It is new to a lot of fans who are, maybe watching Royals baseball for the first time since last season, maybe, didn't necessarily notice it as much in spring training. But as far as the players are concerned, it's not all that new anymore. It's just kind of faded into the background already. Let me ask you this, Austin. Did you hear of any pitch clock violations in the Royals-Twins game yesterday?
I did not.
That's because there weren't any, which is
excellent.
The whole point here is that it's not going to impact the game the way that it might have been perceived that it might. We saw it in AAA last year. Again, this is, at this point, nothing new. It's something that you kind of notice when you look up at the end of the game and you go, whoa, that was only 2 hours and 32 minutes. it felt like a normal game, but what you're realizing is that you're just stripping away so much of the dead time, the fiddling with the batting gloves, the shaking off signs 8 times, throwing over to first base 12 times. You strip that out and you wind up with a really crisp product that we saw yesterday and we saw across baseball. So no, I don't think the pitch clock, I don't think the bigger bases, I don't think the shift restrictions are something that's really going to have an outsized effect on the way we watch the game or enjoy the game. Frankly, Austin, I would say of the 3, the shift restriction is probably the one we're going to notice the most, because you're not going to see 3 infielders on the right side against a left-handed hitter anymore. And you're going to see a few more ground balls get through that right side. That's the one you're going to notice the most. But again, I don't think it's going to swing the needle one way or another all that strongly.
We did see a shift from the Royals yesterday, though. They moved the right fielder up to shallow right field, shift left field and center field over a little bit. Do you expect to see that more against guys like Joey Gallo to try to get an extra fielder there, even though it didn't result in an out? Do you think the Royals are going to keep up that creativity?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we saw them do that in the last exhibition game of the season in Texas when Franmil Reyes was playing right field. And that was the first time that I noticed it. And Annie Rogers, who's been covering the team for MLB.com, she does a great job, asked Matt Quatrero after the game, and they had actually done it multiple times during spring training. I guess we just weren't paying close enough attention to it. But Q said pointedly that there are really only specific circumstances where a defensive alignment like that makes sense. Number one, you've got to have a guy at the plate who has an overwhelming pull percentage. Number two, that guy can't be all that fast because you don't want to give up an automatic triple if he goes the other way. And I think the third one is you're not really going to see that all that much with runners on base because, again, if he goes the other way, boom, that's a run. So the situation we saw yesterday, Joey Gallo, a guy who pulls a lot, doesn't necessarily have blazing foot speed, and there was nobody on base. It was the perfect situation to do it. Heck, it worked. And I bet MJ really wants that one back. And I think he'll get another shot at it.
There you go. That's the lowdown on the Royals from Jake Eisenberg, the newest voice of the Royals in the broadcast booth. You'll hear him every Royals game here on 93.7 The Ticket. Jake, appreciate your time. Again, congratulations on the official call up to the big leagues. We'll be hearing you call the games. Hope we can catch up again throughout the season.
Thank you very much, guys. And hey, again, happy opening day to Royals fans. And more importantly today, happy opening day to Omaha Storm Chasers fans. I am so excited to tune in that ball game tonight and listen to Nick with the team in Indy.
Absolutely. There he is. Jake Eisenberg. Appreciate it, Jake. Talk soon.
All right. Take care.
Big thanks to Jake Eisenberg of the Kansas City Royals for his time here on the show. Good stuff from Jake. As a Royals fan, I'm excited for the season. As Jake laid out all the reasons there. Exciting young position players, new pitching development. What does that result in this year and moving forward? Plenty of time to get into that throughout the season. Again, one game in, the Twins beat the Royals 2-0 yesterday. 161 more games to go. We got a game coming up next, though. That's right. We got the shootout with Strick. He's taking a couple days off. We'll see if it's rust or rest for Strick. We're talking about Final Four teams and their career leaders. How well do you know your Final Four teams? If you think you have a shot to take down Eric Strickland in the shootout, call now, 402-464-5685. $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. On the line, we'll play the shootout on the other side.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 10th and P or at 1501 Center Park Road.
It's an action-packed week of hockey for the Lincoln Stars with 3 games in 4 days. It all begins on Wednesday when they host the Tri-City Storm in a special 11:05 a.m. puck drop on STEM Day, and continues into the weekend when the Waterloo Blackhawks come to town for games on Friday and Saturday, including Billet Appreciation Night on Saturday. There's only a month left in the regular season, and you won't want to miss these huge matchups. Get your tickets now at LincolnStars.com or by calling 402-474-7827.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mix Concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical, and retirement benefits, paid time off, and we pay for CDL training. Apply today to earn an average total compensation of $50,000 to $60,000 your first year driving. From Nebco's beginnings in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com. March is a month of good luck. From epic runs in state basketball to watching Cinderella spring the upset in college basketball. And of course, St. Patrick's Day. Luck is on your side at Mullen Motors too, because their lot is full of great vehicles to take home. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride, as summer road trips are just around the corner. Your luck starts this month at Mullen Motors.
No tag-on, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. It's soul food right here in Lincoln. Ribs, wings, catfish, coleslaw, cornbread, grits. I mean, I'd say it's food like your grandma used to make, but my grandma never made food like that. If you haven't already, you've got to give it a try. Check out their location across from South Point at 27th and Pine Lake, or find their food truck at events all over town, or visit them online at maryellens.com to see the full menu. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Let them fix you a plate.
Can you believe all the empty car lots in Lincoln? How can they survive? Well, they are surviving by charging way too much and making you believe there are no cars available. Hey, this is Carl from Price Right Auto. I'm here to tell you that they are full of bull stuffing. Come out to Price Right in West O and you'll find over 100 great vehicles at some great prices. We won't let you get a lemon since we back every one of our vehicles with our peace of mind 3-month warranty. If you want a hassle-free car buying experience, check out our website, pricerightauto.com. Come see a great selection of affordable used cars on West O Street at Price Right Auto.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game.
Time to play the game. Time to answer the age-old question of rest versus rust. Strick, it's been a couple days since you've played the game. Are you feeling rested? Are you feeling rusty?
I think it's a combination of both. It's probably 60-40, rust 40, rest 60.
Okay, fair enough. Rico filled in for you the last couple days. We didn't change the name. We didn't know if we wanted to call it the runaround with Rico or what. We stuck with Shootout with Rico. I believe Rico ended up going 1-1. Yesterday, though, Strick, was dramatic. Rico went 3 for 5 on his round. Larry answered 3 of his first 4 correctly, goes to the money ball, and with 1 second, Strick, 1 second on the shot clock, Larry pulled out the right answer to beat Rico.
Yep, see, it all comes back full circle. Rico would let me do, see, you weren't here when Rico didn't let me do my Euro step. I did a Euro, I did a step, and then I got it off the fingertips before the buzzer rang, and he said no. So therefore, it comes back on him. There you go. Take that.
The issue with the replay here is that we don't have the ability to instantly go back and watch. We need the stream pulled up on YouTube and be able to rewind and listen in real time. Not sure if we can do that. So replay is available, but it comes an hour too late.
Too late. And you can't recant it because by then you've already given up the stricken. So it's over with. You got to take the L. That's okay. I love the people. So it's all good.
There is no playing the shootout under protest. You can't go back and redo it. That's not how things work here. We are still looking for a contestant, 402-464-5685. $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings on the line for you. Strick, coming up at 320, 325 or so, we're going to dig deep into the Final Four, especially on the men's side, maybe talk a little bit of women's Final Four as well, which we do have all of that for you here on 93.7 The Ticket. We will send you out to, I believe it's Virginia Tech and LSU about 5:30 on the radio with Old School. Fascinating Final Four on the men's side. One of the highest overall, combined seed numbers. You don't have a 1 seed anywhere to be seen. You have a 4 seed in UConn. You have a couple 5s. You have a 9 in Florida Atlantic. And the 2 semifinals should be good games. And that, to me, is the fun part.
Yeah. Listen, LSU's been playing really well. They look really tough. But at the same time, Iowa and Caitlin, the triple-double she put up, my goodness. Whew. I was amazed. I don't care whatever level you're playing at. That was an amazing feat that she did. So I give them a fighting chance at any point. I mean, they've got a good combination of outside-inside game at Iowa too. So it's just a matter of whether or not they take care of the ball, they can handle that, and also make sure that LSU doesn't get too many transition buckets that kind of, pushes the situation, or they get into foul trouble. So they do have a little drop off whenever foul trouble. Iowa gets into some foul trouble. So Caitlin's got to do a good job of staying out of that. But yeah, man, I mean, South Carolina is a juggernaut, so it doesn't matter. I mean, I think the good thing, Virginia Tech is going to be playing them. Is that correct? Am I correct? Virginia Tech in that final?
Virginia Tech
against LSU.
Yes.
Right. So even more, that's the problem. You've got to go up against the juggernaut in South Carolina. So yeah, man, that's hard for anybody, but it's all possible. You got to play the game. Got to play it.
It's a little interesting too, Strick, in that the Big Ten had both players of the year this year in Zach Edey on the men's side and Caitlin Clark on the women's side. Zach Edey's team bounced in the first round by a 16 seed. Caitlin Clark and Iowa here in the Final Four. And again, Strick, I know it's 1 year's worth of sample size, but I think it speaks to the bigger picture that a team led by a do-it-all guard went further than a team that relied so heavily on a postman in March.
Yeah, I mean, because you can scheme around post players, whether it be by way of double team digs, different types of rotations. You can scheme around that, but it's tough. When you got to scheme against a perimeter player, that opens up so many other things for other people that it makes it just so much more difficult. Post players are effective and important. I'm not going to even say that, because when you're trying to push leads or you're trying to dominate the rest of the games, it's always good to be able to go to somebody inside that can get you a bucket. And so it's a value to have, but guard play usually wins the day when you talk about, these type of tournaments and going deep in them.
All right, no contestant, Strick. You win by default. The Stricken given away for free today. You got to get back after it on Monday, though. That'll be the national championship game on the men's side. And maybe we can call it the national championship of the shootout with Strick. We can call it the season after that. No, just kidding. We got more Stricken to give away past Monday. So caller number 3 on the Honda of Lincoln hotline, 402-464-5685. We'll get your information and get you those $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings during break. Coming up in hour 2, Jeff Essink of Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping will be in studio to talk about their 10-week challenge. A new one starts soon. We'll talk to Jeff about that 10-week challenge, everything that goes into that, and how you can get signed up for that. And then the Final Four breakdowns. We'll get into great detail about the most important player for each team. We will also make our picks. We'll lock them in stone, not paper, not pencil, no eraser, written in stone. We'll make our Final Four picks after we talk with Jeff on the other side. Hour 2 on the block comes your way next.
Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings. Shopping for insurance can be a frustrating and tedious task. Brokers Insurance Agency in Lincoln has a full staff of licensed professional agents who will do the work all for you. Brokers utilizes over 20 insurance companies to save their clients money. Brokers Insurance Agency will always do what is in the client's best interest and will find the best program to fit your needs. Call Brokers Insurance Agency today at 402-420-5353 to get a quote today, or find us online at brokersinsurancene.com.
Over 300 pounds. Now, less than a year later, I'm under 200 pounds for the first time since high school. I'm stronger, I'm healthier, and it all began with the Farrell's 10-week challenge. 10 weeks of kickboxing, strength training, and guided nutrition coaching to help you reach your fitness goals. Their next 10-week challenge begins on April 8th. If you're wanting to change your life like I have, head to theticketfm.com and click on Enroll Now on the homepage. Plus, get a promo code for a discount just for ticket listeners. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Creighton would have. That's the best part. They would have beat FAU. They would have been in the national title, but they're not. That's too bad. You guys can wallow for them, and I'll just celebrate over here and say it's a great day to be in Nebraska.
I'm just amazed by that take. I'm amazed by that.
You can be amazed all you want. It ain't changing.
I like
nothing you say is going to change my stance on this game.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Hour 2 on the block. Welcome to it. I'm Austin Norman. Eric Strickland taking a little bit of a break. He'll be back in just a few minutes. Again, he's had a couple days off radio. Oh, here he is. Here he comes. Strick getting the headphones put on. Excellent. He is back with us. We'll bring him in here in just a second. But as important as Strick is, as important as Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul is, what you got to do the move. Go to Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, have a nice plate of it, and then get yourself down to Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping. That's the move. You can have your soul food, eat it too, and work it off. Jeff Essink, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping. Jeff,
yes.
You do know it's not Sunday, right?
I do know it's not Sunday. Yes.
Friday afternoon, not Sunday morning.
Yes, Friday afternoon. Yes.
You are on with us on Sunday mornings, Fitness Fanatics.
Yep.
And I hear you have a special anniversary coming up.
Yeah. So this Sunday from 9 to 11, this will be our 1-year anniversary that we started the show Fitness Fanatics. So it's crazy how time flies. If you go back and watch our first episode, it was just kind of like, okay, here you go. You're off and running. But over the last year, we've just had so many great guests, and we've had student athletes, motivational speakers, some of our Farrell's members, our $1,000 winners, our $10,000 winners. Our first guest that we had a year ago was Mr. Lance Farrell, who started Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping. So without him, none of this would even be happening. And that's when Mark decided to join too, was a year ago. So we're coming up on his 1-year anniversary, which he will be joining us as our guest. Usually when he's in here, he's running the board and stuff, but Harrison will be in here with us on Sunday, and Mark will be with us to talk about his absolutely amazing 1-year transformation that he has gone through. So, if you listen to the ticket, you kind of know his story, but he's lost over 125 pounds since April 7th of 2022. So he's participating in our national 1-year challenge, and he still has until June 15th until it's over. So he still has another 11 weeks to go yet before he is done. So yeah, his change has just been remarkable. And it's not all because of Farrell's. It's mostly because of Mark and the effort that he's put in. A lot of people will join a gym, whether it's us or any other great gyms here in Lincoln, and just think that, oh, okay, I have a gym member. I mean, I've been there. I'm sure you've been there. You have a gym membership. So you just think, well, I have a gym membership, so I'm just going to be in shape. Well, it doesn't work that way. No matter what you're doing, where you're going, you have to put in the work to do it, and you have to be consistent. And Mark has been the model of consistency for the last year. So we're excited to see where the next 11 weeks takes him in his journey. But he'll be with us. We're going to talk all about that, his ups and downs, and just kind of his thoughts on the last year and how it's changed his life. So that's coming up this Sunday from 9 to 11.
Jeff, it's good to see you. I'm sorry I can't be in studio, but at the same time, I had an opportunity to go into Farrell's and work out with the wonderful staff that he has there. They're tremendous at what they do. They are committed. They are dedicated. You've done a great job in leading that crew. I will say it is, and you kind of touched on it, the importance of just being able to stay the course, because there will be so many things. I mean, you have life, you have family, you have kids, you have kids now doing other things. So it's sometimes hard to appropriate that time. But with your scheduling, how does that fit in with a lot of what people are trying to do, and how can you make that work for them as well?
So we have 2 locations in Lincoln. We have a south location over by the Super Target on South 40th and Yankee Hill. And we have a north location that we have been at since December, which is in the Meadow Lane Shopping Center on North 70th and Vine. Our earliest class of the day is at 4 a.m.
Woo.
Most people are sleeping.
So there's no, so at that point, Jeff, real pause. So at that point, 4 a.m., there's really no excuse. That's before the kids wake up. That's before, but it's got to be dedication. You got to be up for the task.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the worst thing about doing 4 a.m. is just setting the alarm with a 3 next to it. But once you're up and you're starting to be more consistent, even our members that work out at 4 a.m., like we have a lot of nurses from Bryan Hospital that do the 4 a.m. class, and then they go work 12-hour shifts. So that's the only time they can do it. Like they could be like, well, there's no other time, so I'm just not going to do it. No, they make the effort to get up, come at 4 o'clock in the morning, go home and get some breakfast, and then work for 12 hours on their feet. And a lot of them will say, hey, we have more energy throughout the day, even though they're getting up really early. Strict exercising, and that's just kind of get those endorphins going and get you're just like fired up, and there you go. So they have more energy. So we have 4 a.m. is our earliest. Our latest class at the North Gym is 6 p.m. Our latest class at the South Gym is 5:30, and we also have a virtual component as well. So we provide our members with an at-home class that they can do every single day of the challenge. So if you get stuck at work in a meeting and you can't make it to your nighttime class, you can do it when you get home. And it's the same great workout that you would get in the gym. So we really have tried to provide not to be a reason not to get your workout in for the day.
So you mentioned Mark doing the 1 year deal. He has 11 weeks to go.
11 weeks to go. Yep.
But in about 1 week, I believe we have to start for another 10-week challenge. Is
that
correct?
Yes. So the unique thing about Farrell's is our onboarding process. We try to have our new members start with the 10-week challenge. And the reason it's been so successful over the last 21 years now is I kind of feel like, one, you have a starting point and an ending point. You're not starting at Farrell's saying, okay, I have no idea when I'm going to stop. Right. So we see really good results because people can stay focused for 10 weeks. Right. So they're focused on their nutrition. They're focused on the workouts. So you have a starting point and an ending point. Now, not the ending point, like when it's over, you never have to work out again.
That's it. 10 weeks set for life. No,
because our fitness is like doing the laundry, doing the dishes. We don't want to do it, but we have to, and we have to do it for a long, long, long time. So we have that component. The other component is the structure, because it's a full program. Like we're telling you what to do from the moment you step on the mats for your orientation, from every single class that's led by a Farrell's instructor that has been through the 10-week challenge. So they know they know how they can relate to what you're going through, because they've had their day ones, they've had their picture taken, they've struggled with nutrition, they've struggled with soreness, so they know what you're going through. And then the accountability. You're not by yourself. It's so hard for a lot of people to be consistent by themselves, because if you're just working out by yourself, like if you're just trying to start something new and you're alone and you miss a day or two, nobody knows but you. So there's nobody to hold yourself accountable. Well, I'm not can hold myself accountable. So that's why I've been with Farrell's for 15 years, and we became coaches, instructors, and eventually owners. So we're coming up on 10 years as owners of Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping. So that's kind of what is unique, is the family atmosphere, the accountability, the teamwork, the coaching. And, you really have somebody helping you out from start to finish.
You mentioned the instructors going through the program. I mean, this is my first time getting to talk to you. I have so many questions about everything that goes into it, but starting with the instructors, when you have leading these 10-week classes,
Yes.
How important is it to you, for the instructors and for, the new enrollees, that their instructors have been through it before?
Well, I think it's really important, because sometimes you go and you see an instructor wherever you go, or you might see somebody on TV doing a class on TV or something. And I know I used to think too, like, well, they've always been like that, right? That person doesn't know what I'm going through. So I always have my before picture on my phone that I can show people, like, hey, this was me when I started. I mean, look at me. I was 49% body fat, I was out of shape. I was on my way to being diabetic. I had so many problems, health problems. So I can relate. And if I can't relate, we have somebody that can relate to them. But it's really cool that all of our instructors started with the 10-week challenge, and we all have our stories of why we started and what is important to us and why we're doing what we're doing. But we all can relate, from our instructors, our coaches, and our fit members.
So how did the 10-week challenge start, and what goes into it?
So kind of what we do when you start, we do a couple things. We will take a before picture. We do a body composition that tells us everything we need to know to give you your nutrition plan. Everybody's nutrition plan is going to be a little different for their macros, calories, carbs, proteins, and fats, based off of, your weight and how many, your body fat percentage, your basal metabolic rate, stuff like that. So everybody's going to be a little different. We have a big group orientation where you get to meet your teammates, your coaches. Nicole and I talk about the program, the ins and outs of it. We talk about nutrition. We do a minute of push-ups, a minute of sit-ups. We do a sit and reach, like you're back doing the presidential fitness awards,
Yep.
like,
know the box. Yep.
So I mean, I can't even touch my toes. So most people can reach farther than I can. So we do all those things. And then the first week is really designed for the new students. Like on Monday of day one, you're going to be in a class with people that are brand new, people that have been with us for 13 years. But the classes are designed for our new members. So we kind of walk you through, where basically the first couple weeks is like building the foundation of a house. You're not going to start with the roof. You're going to start with the foundation. So those first 2 weeks are the building blocks. And then the classes get progressively tougher as we go through the 10-week challenge. We do all that testing again at week 5, which is kind of a troubleshooting. If, you get on the scale and you've gained weight and you haven't seen a lot of changes, we're going to look over your food logs, make sure your nutrition is going well. And if it is going well, we can make some adjustments to see if we can get, better results for you. So it's kind of a troubleshooting, just a checkpoint. And then at the end of the 10 weeks, we do it all again. We take a final picture and we give out $1,000 to the best transformation. So, which is pretty awesome too. So that's another kind of motivating factor for people that, they work hard and because they know they're going to get their picture taken in 10 weeks and you want to see some changes on there. So that's really the 10-week challenge in a nutshell.
Well, one of the hardest things about what you spoke about, and look, I don't know the answer to this question. I'm just throwing it out there, and there may not even be an answer for it. But you talked about creating and helping to put these plans together for those who decide to join the challenge. In putting those plans together, one of the hardest things, some people just don't have skills, right? They don't have meal prep skills and so forth and so on. Are you connected to any local food distributing, food preparation, any companies locally that people can kind of go to? And I mean, is that something that you may have? I don't know. I'm just asking because I know that it's hard. And when people look at that, they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to prepare this.
Well, we've done some stuff with Eat Source Fit, it's owned by Brooks, former Nebraska volleyball player. We've had her on our show. Actually, she's one of our guests. And I know there's some other local meal prep places that you can work with as well. We also give our members a 10-week called Simple Meal Plan, where for 6 days a week, 6 meals a day, there are examples of what you can eat and different types of snacks for the entire 10-week challenge. So you can simply just follow that plan, or a cool thing is being connected with all of the other members and the instructors. Is we've been doing this for so long that we have a lot of great recipes to share and different types of foods where you're like, wow, I had no idea that this even existed. Like that this is healthy and tastes good, because you can eat healthy foods that taste good. But yeah, so I know Austin's like, there is
what? Yeah, Jeff, come on.
And a lot of stuff, I mean, isn't really. It's more portion control. Like a burger is not that bad for you, right? But who goes to the drive-thru and gets a burger? Yeah, I need to get a cheeseburger. Anything else? No, that's it. Just one cheeseburger.
Yep.
No, when I go in, I want my fries. I want my cheese curds. I want my concrete mixers. So it's not the burger itself that's bad for you. It's everything else that we get. And then that's just lunch.
Right.
And you're like, oh, what's for dinner? What's for dessert? I mean, that's kind of how we are. So, there's a lot of learning. The working out, Strick, is the easy part. Working out's the easy part. I mean, people can come to the gym and work out. The hard part is the nutrition. So we're there, Nicole and I are there all the time. That's why we have coaches. We have some registered dietitians that are our instructors as well. So we have a lot of good resources. We're partnered with Matt and the folks at Nutrition Authority that we go to also if we have maybe a client that has special dietary needs, and so we talk to them and see what can we do. Like if we don't know the answer, we're going to get the answer for you.
So you mentioned learning. 10-week challenge has been going on for a while. What have you learned? What's changed with the 10-week challenge from, where it was at the start to where it is today?
So one of the big things that's changed with us is our strength training components. Like 20 years ago when we first started, we were doing the same exact 4 chest exercises, the same exact counts every single upper body day for years. And that's kind of changed. So now we have a lot of different counts. We have dumbbells that we incorporate into our strength training. But one of the cool things too is that the program really hasn't changed in 21 years. Like the core principles of kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition has worked every single 10-week challenge for 21 years. So it's like, if it's not broke, why fix it? Right. But we always strive to get better and make our kickboxing classes better and that type of thing with the simple meal plans and those types of things that we help our members with. So
let's ask this question. I have a couple follow-ups on it.
Yeah.
What's the best way to get signed up?
Okay. So the easiest way, if you're ready to roll, you can just go to the ticketfm.com website, and right on there is a big rectangle box that a Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping that says enroll now. There's a promo code on there for the ticket listeners. You can get $150 off the challenge. So it's $299 for the 10-week challenge. That includes gloves, wraps, all the nutrition coaching, all the classes. I mean, everything. There is literally nothing else to get. Yeah. So Austin has it right up there on the screen. You can click on that. It'll take you to our enrollment page. You can also go to fxblincoln.com if you have you have questions for me. You can text me directly. My number is on the enrollment screen. So if you click on that, enroll now, my cell phone number is on there. So I've had listeners text me a question. This is what we do. So Nicole's my wife. We own both the locations here. We don't have another job. I mean, the only other job we have is we're part-time radio hosts on Sundays, right?
Yeah.
So
and Fridays apparently sometimes.
And Fridays and yeah, when we get close to the challenge, we're blessed enough to be able to come in here and talk about it. But this is what we do. We've been doing this for 10 years. We've had, I believe, over 3,500 people come through Farrell's under our watch. And every single 10 weeks, we have amazing transformations. Our male winner last session is Brad Coyne, and he lost 30 pounds, 5% body fat, heard us on the ticket, enrolled, and it's changed his life. So it's really, really cool. But every single 10 weeks, we have amazing. It's funny what you can do when you eat healthy and you work out. Like, that's the secret. Eat healthy and work out. But a lot of people really don't know how to do that. So we're there just to help guide them. We're kind of the car and you're the driver. Mark's the driver of the Farrell's car. Now he can crash into the ditch and not have great results, or he can stay on the road, be consistent, build momentum, and you're going to see great things happen.
I'm sure there are a lot of people out there gung-ho about it, ready to get going. How often do you see there's a wall, whether it's halfway through, someone gets frustrated? How do you help those people get through that wall?
Well, the team is a big factor, because I'll tell you, there's 2 danger zones in our 10-week challenge. Week 3 and week 7.
3 and 7.
Because you know the old saying, 21 days to make a habit. Well, what's week 3?
That'd be 21 days, Jeff.
Days 15 to 21, right? So by then, and this is anything that you do week 3, because the first 2 weeks, it's new, it's shiny, it's exciting. Oh, this is great. I'm feeling good. I've lost 10 pounds. You're just loving life, right? And then week 3 gets here and you get on that scale and you gained a pound. So then it's like, okay, what's going on? But that's what we have the support system there for. Is if somebody's struggling, we're there to help them. You have the community, the Farrell's community, and the coaches and the instructors to help them. Now, we can't help everybody. And out of everybody that starts with us, 30% of the people don't finish. So it is hard. I mean, the 10 weeks is a long time to be dedicated to something, but we like the 10 weeks because we're trying to build long-term sustainability, not a short-term quick fix, because quick fixes don't last forever. So that's what we're trying to build, and really hope that our members over the 10 weeks learn something.
30% seems like a big number, but to me, I think 70 is the bigger number. 70% of people finish the program because of the team. 70%,
yes.
I guarantee, is more people that finish that program than buy a gym membership January 1st and still consistently use it
and are still doing
by
it
February. Even 4 weeks, 5 weeks later. So 70% is an incredible number. That's awesome. One question from the text line for you, Jeff.
Yes.
Because what I can tell from what you're saying is there's no one starting point you have to be at. There's no one ending point that you have to be at. Someone on the text line asks, what if someone has like a bad knee or a back and has a hard time with flexibility and physical pain? There's a spot for them too somewhere, I assume.
Yes, because anything can be modified. Like if somebody asks me if they can physically do Farrell's, I will say, as long as you can get down to the floor and stand up, you can do it. We've had people that have done like punch the bag sitting in a chair because they couldn't stand for 45 minutes. So there's ways that we can help you modify things. We've had people that can't kick the bag because of bad hips, bad knees, so they just kick the air, kick to the side, but they can still punch. Or we have people that maybe have bad shoulder, bad wrist, so they can't punch the bag, so they'll shadow box, and then they can kick the bag as hard as they can. So just the kind of the unique thing is really it's for anybody. We just had a member that had signed up who is 70.
Whoa.
Right. Looking to get started. So it's really, I know that the extreme kind of scares people, right? Because you think it's going to be we're just going to be yelling at you for 45 minutes. Go crawl under these ropes.
Roid it out, creatine, protein powder, everything.
Yes. No. We have members of all different ages, fitness levels. Most of the people that start with us they say, I haven't worked out in years. I need help. I need somebody to tell me what to do because I can't do it on my own, or I've tried this, I've tried that. So they're coming to us for help. So that's the unique thing about the community is you're not in it alone. You're with a group of people that are feeling just like you're feeling. And over the 10 weeks, you're meeting new friends. And we have members today that are that are best friends that did not know each other when they started Farrell's, and then they did their 10 weeks together, and now they go on vacations, and their families are friends, their kids are, I mean, so it's just cool stories like that we see literally every single 10-week challenge, and it never gets old for us.
That's incredible. One more time, Jeff, when does this next 10-week challenge start? Where's the best way to sign up?
10-week challenge starts April 8th, which is next Saturday. The first day of classes is April 10th. You can go to the ticketfm.com's website and just click on the Enroll Now tab, or you can go to fxblincoln.com. You can hit me up. My cell phone number's on there. We're always available for questions. Yeah, so that's what we got.
There you go. Jeff Essing, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping with us. Show on Sunday, 9 to 11.
Yep.
Happy 1-year anniversary of the show.
Thank you.
People, keep tuning in.
Yes.
You get the advice in person. You get the advice over the radio. You can find Jeff's phone number and text him, apparently.
That's right. You can ask me any questions. No excuses. That's right. That's right. We're always here.
There you go. Jeff, appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Strick.
All right. That'll
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Can you hear me? Yep. Good.
I can. Yes. Enjoy your cruise, my man.
Thank you.
Excellent. There we go. Again, Jeff Essing, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping. Catch you and Nicole on Sunday, 9 to 11 here for Fitness Fanatics. On the other side, Strick and I make our final 4 picks. That's right. Who's winning it all? Who's most important this weekend? We'll get to that after the break.
This is Megan Whitaker from the Nebraska golf team. If you've put your clubs away for the winter, it's time to get them back out. There's no need to stop thanks to Double Eagle Golf. Double Eagle is home to Lincoln's best indoor golf simulators. It's perfect for every level of golfer, with everything from casual games for the kids to hyper-realistic simulations of some of the best courses in the world. And the best part, no matter what the weather's doing outside, it's always golf weather inside. See for yourself. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $20 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $24.11 per hour, which grows to $28.27 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $32.76 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsterats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Once again, big thanks to Jeff Essing of Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, spending some time with us, getting you set for the next 10-week challenge. Again, that starts soon. Go to the tickets website, Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping website, to get signed up. Again, big thanks to Jeff for that. You hear him and Nicole then again on Sunday, 9 to 11, right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. All right, the Final Fours taking place over the weekend. You have the women's Final Four tipping off tonight. LSU and Virginia Tech, followed by South Carolina and Iowa. That championship game will be on Sunday. The men's Final Four is where we'll start, taking place in Houston. Houston doesn't make it. That's right. The Houston Cougars, coached by Kelvin Sampson, do not make it to the Final Four in their own home city. Who does out of that region? None other than Miami. Let's start with that Miami-UConn game, Strick. Miami, to me, had the toughest path of anyone. Now, obviously, every region is going to be hard. There's not really an easy path to the Final Four. But Miami played Drake, who finished second in the Missouri Valley, won that conference tournament in dominating fashion over Bradley. Then they beat Indiana, really solid team with a matchup nightmare for them and Trace Jackson Davis. They take down Houston, who was fighting to get to the Final Four in their home city, the most balanced team in the country all year. Their reward for beating Houston, Texas, your pick to win it all, a balanced veteran team taken down by Miami. Despite Miami being down, they find a way to make the comeback and advance to the Final Four. Starting with Miami, again, we've harped on it time and time again. It's guard play, but it's also an underrated coach in Jim Larrañaga and everything that he's done to guide them through, and again, for my money, the most difficult path to the Final Four of any of the 4 teams.
Yeah, and listen, Isaiah Wong stepped up. He's been their leader all year. He stepped up huge for them when they needed him to do so in the Elite Eight game. And great leadership out of Nigel Pack, too. I mean, Nigel Pack, obviously, the one that most people are very have knowledge of because of the deal that he landed as far as an NIL deal. But, he just gets them into everything. And Nigel Pack gets them started. But here's the killer part of it. They have 5 players that are averaging over a steal a game. Mm-hmm. So their defensive squad is phenomenal as far as attacking you on the defensive side of things. Ormeyer is a huge walking double-double, 13 a game, 10 rebounds, and then 1.2 blocks a game on top of 1.2 steals. So they're not a team that turns the ball over. They do very well in taking care of the ball. They all shoot the ball fairly well. And then they shoot free throws. So they've just got a great compilation. Their threes are solid too at 37%. They just have a great, just solid team across the board. But it's their defensive prowess that really just they stay after you. They're long, they're active, and they hit the offensive glass and do all of those things to make it tough for you at the end of the night. And so by the time you think you have a chance to win the game, they didn't wear you down. So that's what they're looking to do in this game.
Maybe not a perfect comparison, but I see a lot of similarities between Miami and Bellevue West. The way they want to play fast. They're going to be in passing lanes. They're going to be aggressive. Some drive and kick, but a lot of spot-up shooters. Is that a fair comparison?
Absolutely. I mean, that's it. It's just wear you down. I mean, they're deep too. They're not afraid to go into their onto their bench a little bit and dig in there and see if anybody can step up for a night or two. If things aren't going well, they're not afraid to look down there and see if somebody else can fill the void for a moment of time, give some sparing minutes for them. So yeah, I mean, but they do kind of look that way. They're going to get out in the break. They're going to get in the passing lanes. They're going to try to steal balls, and they're going to try to fast break you and run you to death. And they've got multiple guys that can do that can handle the ball.
Who's the most important player for Miami in this game against UConn, and should they win, then the rest of the weekend?
I think it's going to be Nigel Pack. I think Nigel Pack, with him just being solid, continuing to take care of the ball, continuing to make sure they get into the right stuff. He's their best free throw shooter. But the guys that handle the ball most for them, for the most part, are their best free throw shooters, and their whole starting 5 on average shoot over 80%. So you can't foul them, but they're an attacking team. So that's where they're gonna win the game for you. But Nigel Pack, I think getting them just into their stuff, making sure they're all solid and calm down. This is gonna be an exciting moment for them. That they haven't gone this deep, and being that it's a first, hopefully he'll be able to kind of help settle the nerves.
The guy for me for Miami, Strick, is Wooga Poplar. He's under the radar, a little quieter. He was banged up a little bit, but to me, he's their best on-ball defender. You mentioned a lot of steals. They're going to be in passing lanes, but if you need someone to sit down in front of one of UConn's guards, to me, it's going to be Wooga Poplar. And he's not going to have a dominant showing, but if he can be in the way enough, if he can be pesky enough and then hit open threes, which he's done this season at a 39% rate, to me, he can swing that game, not by being a star, not by having the ball in his hands a lot, but by maximizing what he does with the ball, spotted up probably in the corner, maybe above the break a couple times for Miami. Because to me, if he can slow down, Tristan Newton just enough, that could go a long way for Miami.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's only a sophomore. He's 6'5". He's strong, good body. His numbers have increased from the time that he was a freshman up until now, especially at the three-point shooting position. But it's because he's taking better shots. Wooga is just going to be a guy that if you kind of just you think you kind of look over him or not looking at him or he's not a part of your game plan, he can rattle off about 4 or 5 of them on you, and he'll be the one that'll be the downfall of your night.
The flip side of this matchup then is UConn, the most dominant team in this tournament so far. They won their first round game by 24 points. They won by 15 against St. Mary's in a 4-5. They get Arkansas in the Sweet 16 win, that one by 23, and then lay the wood on Gonzaga. They beat the Bulldogs by 28 points, 82-54. UConn looks like a wagon right now. They look like the most well-rounded team left in these 4 teams.
Yes, they are. And the other part of it, this is why this is going to be probably one of the best matchups of the night. And the reason being is that UConn is super deep. They play about 9 players. And all 9 have played, pretty good minutes for this team. And it depends on how they're going, right? But obviously a lot of this runs through Sanogo. He is the block shot guy for them, the guy that holds it down in the middle. They all rebound. So it's not like Sanogo has to be the guy that gets it done. He's averaging only 8 rebounds. He's not a double-double guy for the most part, but he can be on a given night. But everybody on this team rebounds. They do it collectively. Almost everybody has 4 to 5 rebounds a game on this team. So they're going to be a team that's going to be one that if you're missing shots, they're going to be tough to beat because they're going to secure rebounds and they're going to go down and execute. And a lot of that's going to run through Sanogo.
It sure is. This is a perfect styles make fights type of matchup. Miami plays through its guards. UConn has good guards, has good wings, but they're huge across the board. Miami has pretty good positional size, but Sanogo at 6'9", 6'10", 240 is a load. Donovan Clingan coming off the bench at 7'2", 270. He's a load. Andre Jackson on the wing. Hawkins and Newton are both 6'5". Caravan, a freshman, has played a really good role for them at 6'8". So even though UConn is the taller, probably the bulkier team, they run too, right? They don't run their offense through Sanogo and Clingan. They have the guards and the wings to run with Miami, which is where if Miami's able to, draw Sanogo and Clingan away from the basket with Omir and knock down threes, I think that favors them. But if Miami's cold, I think that'll be because of UConn's length and ability to clear that defensive glass like they've done all year.
And so what you've got to look at also with both of these teams, you really have a good understanding as to why they went deep. They've all got solid, good guard play. They all defend very well. They are pretty deep on both sides of the ball. They shoot excellent free throws. So when the game matters or when the game's you're trying to get back into it, because you saw, listen, Texas had that game. Texas was actually, they had it. And it was because of the free throws, the continual attack, and the steadiness of them being able to do all those things, not great, but well. Now you can see why both of these teams have gone through and got as far as they've gotten, to include shooting pretty good. None of it's great. Pretty good from 3, 36%. Sanogo shooting 60% from the field, but they all are attacking, rebound, pushing, probing, and getting great shots and being willing to make the extra the extra pass to share. And you can understand that kind of basketball is winning basketball in college basketball today.
All right, time to make your pick of the first semifinal. Are you taking the Canes? Are you taking the Huskies?
to me, UConn has been there before. UConn has that kind of pedigree. But I'm actually gonna go with the Hurricanes, because I think when it comes down to having somebody at those positions that can literally take over, Wong can do that as well as Nigel Pack at any given time. And so that alone is going to be why I'm going to go with them.
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go with UConn. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the styles are similar but different enough. Both teams will have their runs, will have their moments. I like the experience of UConn, and I like their defensive anchors in Sanogo and in Klingon, who can absorb some of those drives without fouling. So we're opposite on that one. Let's flip sides of the bracket, talk San Diego State and Florida Atlantic. Let's start with the Aztecs. They go 30-2 in 2020, in line for a top 2 seed before that tournament gets canceled. Fine year last year, get a 5 seed this year, win the 4-bid Mountain West Conference. Their path was fascinating. First round, they survive Charleston. They get Furman in the second round, and then they knock off the number 1 overall seed in Alabama to reach the Elite 8. They take Creighton's best shot, but controlled that game in the style of play. They played a San Diego State type of game in winning it by a single point. And here they are in the Final Four for the first time in school history. What stands out to you about the Aztecs?
Just their grittiness, their grind, their willingness to never give up. They don't ever feel that they're out of a game. They're tough. They're hard-nosed. But what I also like about them is that no one believes. And that's what I like about this side of the matchup. This is going to be somebody from this side of the matchup. It reminds me of going back to when Butler used to get in. Remember when Butler went back-to-back? And
yeah,
just
Butler
freaking came up short. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at this and I'm saying I'm rooting for this side of the bracket, because I don't care what you say. 35-3, I don't care what conference you're in. That is a phenomenal record. And I think it's overlooked. This is a very confident team. They believe in themselves. They're dangerous. Their biggest strength as well is their depth, where they go 9 players deep, averaging 15 minutes per game. So I really like this side of the bracket. I like the Aztecs. I love the fact that Aguek, Arope, and a lot of those guys are just they're just unified. You know what I'm saying? The Aztecs are holding their opponents. This is where they're unified collectively as a whole. They do everything together. 57.3 points per game on 17% shooting from 3. So there's no easy shots that come in the Aztecs building or anywhere when they show up. So that's what I love about this game. I think it's going to be tough for Florida Atlantic because of the way that the Aztecs get after you defensively. They held Creighton and Alabama both went combined 5 for 44 from 3. That is the lowest ever in a regional weekend by a team that has reached the Final Four. So I love that aspect about this. I love the fact that 2 teams like this are going to have an opportunity to play on the biggest stage, and I hope that one of them wins.
It's hard for me to call San Diego State a Cinderella, because that's a fantastic program that's been in the NCAA tournament before, has a winning pedigree. But it's hard for me to call Florida Atlantic a Cinderella as well, with 35 wins, dominating the way they did throughout the Conference USA season. Haven't been to the NCAA tournament for nearly this long in school history. They've played a lot of close games. And the reason I give FAU at least a chance against San Diego State is because they saw, again, one of the nation's best defenses in Tennessee, took it on the mouth in the first half, only scored 22 points, regrouped, readjusted at halftime, dropped 40 in the second half against Tennessee to win that game by multiple possessions. If they were seeing a defense like this for the first time in the Final Four, I might be worried. But Strick, I don't think they're going to be surprised by what they see, the speed of the game and the physical nature from San Diego State, because they played Tennessee to get here.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, Tennessee is like that. They're all of that. But they didn't bow. They didn't kowtow to them. They didn't weep or shudder. They, in any form or fashion, they were like, "Hey, what's up? We here. What you what you gonna do? Because we're gonna give you everything we got." And I love that heart about them. But again, the Aztecs feel the same way. They both feel like they've been slighted a little bit. They both feel that people are saying that the other side is really the championship. They're hearing all that noise. And I think they both feel that once they break through this one, that they feel that they can take the next one on the chin, and they can stand toe-to-toe in the middle of the ring, not backing up, not giving an inch. And they both feel that we'll be able to give them the best run for their money.
All right, you have Miami winning the first half of the Final Four. Who do you have facing Miami in the national championship game on Monday?
I'm going to be honest with you. I am a super underdog dude just because I was one of them. And so I'm just going to, on the underdog love of it all, I want to see something. I want to see something special. And I'm going to go with FAU.
I love it. If Florida Atlantic does end up winning, getting to the national championship game, should they do the unthinkable and win twice more this season, it would be a clean sweep of men's postseason tournaments for Conference USA. Charlotte won the CBI, the CIT. North Texas took home the NIT. Did lose their coach to Texas Tech afterwards, but an NIT championship, nothing to scoff at. And now they have a team in the Final Four in FAU. I got to flip it, though. I think San Diego State has been that team all year. They're experienced. They're deep. I think Brian Dutcher is a good coach. And one of my favorite under-the-radar players in the country is Matt Bradley. Put up numbers at Cal, transferred to San Diego State, has been that dude for them. I'll go with the big boys. Give me UConn. Give me San Diego State in a national championship game that probably ends in the low 60s. If we're lucky, because both those teams get after it defensively. If we get Miami FAU like you're rooting for, that's a game I think we see in the 80s, and that would be a whole lot of fun.
Oh, man. It's going to be – I'm excited about this weekend. And actually, I'm so glad that I'm going to finally be home to see it and witness it. You know, I'm excited about it.
Absolutely. So you have Miami FAU. I have UConn and San Diego State advancing. Those are our Final Four picks. We will we'll give you our national championship predictions on Monday. That'll be a big part of that show. Recap the college basketball season, how we got there, break down that national championship game. Again, that'll be on Monday from 2 to 4 here on The Block. We're running out of time. We have the old school crew in the building. Jay Foreman waiting patiently next door. Let's bring him in for the crossover. Get old school started off with the crossover with On The Block after this.
A lot of businesses say that they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business feels anything but for your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, as they do with customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
There's a new way to vacay when you fly LNK. Check out brand new service at the Lincoln Airport to some of America's favorite travel destinations. Catch convenient nonstop flights to Vegas, Atlanta, Minneapolis, Orlando, Austin, Dallas, or Nashville when you fly via Redway. With so many affordable options to choose from, planning your vacation has never been easier. Visit GoFlyRed.com and book today. Flights are public charter, offered by Global X Air Tours LLC and operated by Global Crossing Airlines Incorporated.
MWR is dedicated to building attractive, affordable steel buildings that exceed your expectations. From commercial or residential to agricultural storage, steel buildings are cost-effective, attractive, and versatile. Plus, they're a lasting investment and an ideal choice. MWR uses Sentinel Building Systems out of Albion and can service you all over the state and region. If you have interest in a steel building, post frame building, or fencing, give MWR a call today at 402-980-5273 or go to mwrbuildingandfence.com.
A lot of work goes into making Nebraska, Nebraska. Keeping it green, helping it thrive, making it fun. Everything that goes into caring for our outdoors, from waters to wildlife, plays a big role in making Nebraska home. Learn how we help conserve our state's natural resources at outdoornebraska.org.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back one final time here on the block. Austin Norman, Eric Strickland, then with you for the last couple hours. Big thanks to Jake Eisenberg and Jeff Essink, our two JEs here on the show today. Jake gave us a breakdown of the Kansas City Royals whole season preview from him. Jeff Essink came in to tell us about the 10-week challenge at Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping. Make sure you get signed up on either the Farrell's website or theticketfm.com. We welcome in Jay Foreman for the crossover. Jay, what's up?
What's popping? On the ones and twos. I see my boy on the stream. I see you here. I see you player. I see you be an entrepreneur. I see you. Hey, like to fly away. I see you. You doing all right, man?
Jay
like,
Foreman.
Hey, I know you out there
The
on
weather's
them seas.
beautiful.
Good. That's all that matters, man. I know when you start to when you about to get to it, when you about to dock up, you say ahoy. Who goes there?
Right,
You know
but
what
can
I'm
you see
saying?
the high pro glow? You don't see the
Yeah, I
glisten of the
see.
sun, man. I'm
Yeah,
glistening,
man, I
man. It's been beautiful.
Look like pure bliss.
So
over
Jay,
there, my brother.
check this out, Jay. We have somebody on the stream hit us up, and I want to ask you because you have a kind of, you and Kenny have a touch to the program, but I want to understand what is meant by this, because I'm not able to keep fully up on the news because it can be spotty out here sometimes. But Rob on the stream, the YouTube stream, said, "What did Coach Rule mean by his tweet last night? #part-time." Do you have any insight on that?
Nah, man, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, man. I don't know anyway. I mean, that his Twitter things are the emojis. I'm not a big fan of emojis because I don't know what they mean. And then because the kids I coach, they send you like there was the acronyms and all that stuff. I said, look, man, you explain yourself. I don't know emojis. I don't know what that means. We'll see what it means. I don't know what part-time would mean. They had practice yesterday. I don't know. Maybe some people, maybe it's a little shot over the bows to say some of you guys in there, sometime in it. And part-time ain't gonna get you full-time playing time. I mean, maybe that's it. I don't know. I can't be informed. I mean, that's what, if it was me, and I'm sure if it was me and I'd start talking about part-time to my team, I know that he encourages them to be involved like with social media, and then you see sometimes some think it was a shot at Dion. Yeah, I don't know. I doubt that.
Shot at what?
At Dion. Look, I can tell for you Nebraska fans, man. Listen here, first of all, I have my own feelings why you guys don't like Dion. Get over it, okay? Dion took the Colorado job. He'll do just fine. Dion's won everywhere he's went. Everywhere he's went. Colorado will never be a powerhouse like it was in the 90s. And, quite frankly, Nebraska's not there. You need to worry about what we got going on in Nebraska, which recently was a big pile of doo-doo. And you had to make you come in and try to clean it up like they always do, some cats, just like my man Silas down there at the Houston Rockets. And, they get the, big time blame. So we need to worry about what we're doing and only worry about Colorado the week before, or as soon as Sunday.
The day of the game, not even the weekend.
The week of, you got to start game planning for them. We worry. Dion's in our head right now. Some people, you worry about Dion
living rent free. Rent free.
Somebody asked me why we didn't really consider Dion. I said, man, listen here. It was like hell or high water to have a couple brothers down there as volunteers. You think Dion gonna? Hey, man, Dion would turn Nebraska. They'd have some people around that still wearing those African medallions like I used to wear in high school. Listen to Public Enemy, Strick.
Yeah. It would have definitely been a change of culture. There's no question about that.
Right.
But I think he's gonna do fine too, man. I really do. Like I say, I don't think they'll become what they were, but I do I do think he'll do fine, and I think you'll be surprised at the type of talent that he's going to be able to amass over there. And so it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to going out there and watching that one. I'm definitely looking forward to.
Are you going out there?
But let's turn. I think I'm gonna go, man.
Some.
I think I'm gonna go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go out there and check.
Bring me back some.
Bruh.
No doubt.
What?
No doubt.
Help Strick. No.
Strick.
No.
Hey.
He had a question.
What's up, Strick? Holla at your boy. It's Friday. We about to turn up in here.
He already turned up.
So listen. So here's what you got going, man. A lot of people right now, this for both of y'all, a lot of people right now are saying that UConn and Miami, that's the finals. And then on the other side, you got FAU and you got San Diego State. I beg to differ. I could be wrong. But at the end of the day, how are y'all looking at this Final Four? And how interested are you? And have you been this interested in the Final Four in a while now?
Look, Strick, I know you've been out to sea. You know what I'm saying? Out there in Gilligan's Island and stuff. But today we got our locked in concrete picks for the Final Four. We had the precursor on Wednesday. But I think in my opinion, I think it's UConn's national title to lose. They've been the most dominant team. They've looked the best. They're the deepest team. They're the biggest team. They're the most hot team. They've been number one before, so they know the pressure. And I feel like, Miami's going to be their biggest challenge. And even though on the other side, you have two, well-oiled machines in the teams, but, you got Florida Atlantic. They're new to this big stage, even though they've answered the bell every single time. In San Diego State, I don't think, regardless if it's Miami or UConn, I don't know if they have enough firepower to match it. Because most likely what happens, especially when you get into the championship game, the teams tend to score 8 to 12 points more because you're not able to scout. You just got so many other distractions, both the coaches, players, and administration. And then, it's a big moment. People start, firing up threes. What you looking for, dog? You got some leakage going up in there? We got to come save you? You all right? hey, look, send us your location.
No,
we'll come get you.
We got announcements. We got ship announcements.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's listening. I appreciate it. While we wait for those to pass, did you guys see the dude at Dodger Stadium get wrecked last night?
Oh, man. I'm
going to roll the tape. Grade the tackle.
Oh, that right there. You need to sign him. Take him down. Remember when Bo Pelini tried to do that roll tackling?
Oh,
they need to bring him over down there and show them cast out a tackle. The inside linebacker room. Watch this. Look at this.
What possessive?
Look at him. But look how he came. Look how he fired up them. Hey, same shoulder, same foot, drive through the ground, explosive, all heads to bed. And the thing is, man, as you get closer to him, you see he's trying to propose. You could just stand there and say, look, you better get the yes, because we about to hem you up. See, I think that's the dude right there goes too far.
He went too far.
Because when you from me to
because he's on his knees.
He ain't running nowhere.
I'll knock on wood.
Right.
He's not running.
Right. He shouldn't have been, but you know what he was thinking. He
finna get on the news. He wants to.
No, he ain't never tackled nobody in high school. Now
it may come out that he did play college ball, and that's the reason why.
Because that hit right there was for real.
It was for real.
Yeah,
he meant business behind it.
He messed around gonna get a tryout with somebody. Houston, Texas, you try him out. We need some inside linebacker help.
Someone I know of the female gender asked why they didn't just let him do it. It's a proposal. It's sweet. It's cute. Yeah. No, you let one person get away with it. Yeah, everyone's going to try. You got to lay down the law.
I would have just said, hey, get your. Look, dude, you about to,
If I'm standing right next to you, you on your knee. If I'm coming at you, you're on your knee.
I'm gonna do
yes? I'm gonna do exactly what you said.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes. Then I might put you in that. Hey, Strick, remember back in the day they put you in that sleeper hold. I might put you, see if that works still. Put you in that sleeper hold like George Guidry used to put cats in the sleeper hold. Yeah, or put you in the full Nelson.
Full Nelson.
That dude, man.
And he paid for it big time. The ring,
the
fine.
I guarantee he got a pinched nerve because that neck was whiplash.
I'm not even talking about the soreness he's going to have. But I'm talking about the cost of the ring, and the cost of the fine, and the cost to get out of jail.
Yeah, because if I get in front of that judge, I said, "Look, man, this is you got to say this
it was for love. Doesn't
for
fly.
Love. Love made me do this. Give me a break."
Ain't you know what I mean? What's coming up on Old School?
Well, we got our final four picks, but I'm gonna surprise Kenny because it's the women's final four tonight. We're going to go over under on how much or how little Caitlin Clark scores, and can Iowa pull the upset of the century. Talk about Jazz Shelley coming back, the three-point artist for the University of Nebraska.
Huge.
And we're going to talk about the scrimmage tomorrow. We're going to see if it's going to be a real fake or real deal scrimmage. And I'm going to ask Kenny, if we did family night back in the day, we know he'd only want the Yardbird. What else do you want it? Old school. Hey, listen here. We about to turn up in here, Strick. I don't know where you at, but let me tell you something. Come Monday, your little butt better be back up in here, man. I'm tired of this, man. Monday, ASAP.
Listen.
Hey,
It might listen. We still.
No, ain't no mic to it, bro.
I got a little bit more to go.
Hey, Strick.
I got a little bit more to go. But it'll be Monday or Tuesday. Or actually, it'll probably be Tuesday.
Hey, Strick, since you say you out there in the sun, here's what I want you to do. Every time that you go outside, I want you to put some shades on. We're gonna have to prove it to everybody that us brothers can't get a tan. So when you come back, you got your little shade. All right, my brother.
I love y'all. Happy weekend, man. We'll see y'all next week.
Safe travel.
That's Strick. I'm Austin. They're Kenny and Jay. They're with you for
Hip,
old
hip.
school coming up.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Jay Foreman. I wore gear to protect my health on the football field, and I'm protecting it now by staying up to date with the bivalent